Hey, what's going on, you guys? Got a fun and exciting episode of the Camcast for you here. I was able to bring one of my best friends, Kyle Jones, onto the podcast. Me and Kyle, we talk Angels basically all the time. When we lived together, we talked about the Angels. Really excited to finally be able to get him on the podcast. He was really excited to get a microphone and get on with me. Just a lot of fun talking Angels 2021 season, the off season, expectations for the 2022 season. Just had a lot of fun. I'm sure you guys are going to really like it. This is going to be kind of a recurring conversation piece on the podcast. Kyle's going to be my Angels guy moving forward. Whenever I want to do an Angels talk, I'll make sure to get him included on it because he seems to love this team as much as I do, and he knows a lot about it. So it's a lot of fun for me. Without further ado, actually, no, not without further ado. Before I get into it, please make sure you're following, subscribing, liking the podcast channel on Instagram. That's at cam.cast. And of course, on YouTube, Camcast. Just having a lot of fun doing this stuff. Sorry it's been a couple weeks. Life's been getting kind of busy. So, it's good to finally create some time and make this podcast episode. But, without further ado, here's the podcast. Thanks, guys. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's another episode of Camcast here. Finally, an Angels Talk episode. We're not just looking at my ugly face the entire time. Now, there are two ugly faces here. It's me and my good buddy, Kyle Jones, who I've known for, God, how long have I known you for, Kyle? Since like 7th grade, 8th grade? Back when you used to
too
make fun
long,
of my yellow shoes?
but
Too long? Oh, wow.
no, not
We're
long
starting
enough.
this. We're starting this real positive, aren't we? That's great.
Yep.
You got to bash the host every once in a while. But I figured I had to have one of my best friends on the podcast with me talking about probably our favorite team. Definitely mine now that I'm not as big of a fan of the Lakers anymore. But the Angels are it's fun talking baseball. And it's more fun talking baseball with, your buddies that actually know what they're talking about. So, Kyle, thanks for coming aboard, man. I'm finally glad we're able to make this happen.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to finally talk about our, favorite mediocre baseball team. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, dude, the mediocrity is in full effect. Let me tell you, if we have us two schlubs talking about baseball, that's pretty much all you need to know right there in terms of the mediocrity that's being faced with the team. So to kind of kick it off on more of a positive note, let's kind of talk about this 2021 season. Like, I don't want to start shitting on the team like right off the bat, even though it has been a rough, 7 years or so since we made the playoffs last 2014. But like, what were some of like the highlights in this season for you? Like, what are some of the things that kind of stand out in terms of when you look back on the season? Like, oh, that was really cool. So, your thoughts on that?
So obviously Ohtani, just right off the bat, obviously a breakthrough season for him. Arguably best player in the MLB now. So I mean, don't forget about Mike Trout, but what Ohtani did was just unprecedented. So
absurd.
Yeah, and then of course, with injuries and whatnot, some of the young guys that came up towards the end of the season, there was a lot to like about that.
Yeah,
some things to dislike, but I think it was definitely a net positive for sure.
So who were some of the young guys that? Sorry. So who were some of the young guys that came up that you really liked? Like, I have a couple names in mind for myself, but they're like, what were some of the ones that you really liked in terms of not? We'll do position players first, and then we'll talk about the pitchers. So do position players.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, Jared Walsh, he finally got like a starting gig. Thanks to Albert Pujols leaving. That was amazing. Best thing for the Angels in a while, to be honest.
How long have I been talking about Walsh, dude? A couple of years?
Yeah, a couple of years. I mean, dude, like it's been long overdue, to be honest.
First season, he's an all-star. Unbelievable.
Yep.
With Pujols been plugging up that first base hole for so long, like we haven't had anybody. We had all these first base prospects that could have been playing there, and because of Albert Pujols' tired ass been playing at first base, I haven't had anybody be able to fill that hole. And Jared Walsh, he's got those pimp bat flips. He's fucking fun to watch.
He is. He really is. So I like him, obviously. Joe Adele. I mean, I was kind of iffy about him, to be honest, for a little bit, but I think towards the end of the season, he really showed like why he was the Angels' top prospect. Mm-hmm. I think he's starting to get maybe comfortable, build some confidence, and I think that's great because obviously he's a multi-tool player, and that's what the Angels need. So Brandon Marsh, I like what he did. Jose Rojas, I like some of the things he did as well.
He hits a lot of doubles, surprisingly. Jose Rojas does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he had 14 doubles. He only had like 30 hits.
But I mean, that's good. So it shows that you don't just hit, little singles. You can get in scoring position right away. So
he's got pop on his bat, and he's from Orange, so he's like a hometown kid. He went to Vanguard, I think. He went to Vanguard University in Costa Mesa. I pulled that one out of my ass.
I think that checks out. Yeah.
I think it checks out.
So yeah, the young players. I think definitely a net positive. I mean, the fielding, like at the beginning, Joe Adell, the fielding was a little iffy for sure. He had that was
last year though, right? That was last year.
Yeah, and then this year, I think he definitely like solidified some of his fielding.
He had a couple great outfield assists too. Like he threw one guy out at third, he threw one out at second, I believe. He looked like a completely different player after his time in the minors, early in the season. I think it was earlier this season when he was there for like a month and a half in AAA, and he already hit like 20 home runs. It's crazy. Yeah. He was striking out a third of his at bats, but he was still hit like 20 home runs and 60 at bats. Insane. But yeah, Marsh also really, really talented. He hit what did he hit? I think he was hitting close to like 250, in his first time ever being in Major League Baseball action. That's really good.
That's really solid for sure.
I mean, it's better than Cody Bellinger, who was hitting a cool 160 throughout the regular season. So, I mean, there's that.
Yeah. There's that. Yep.
Got to throw out my Dodgers shade because they can't win a regular 162 game World Series. They had to do it in 60 games. So, got to remind all my Dodger fans out there that their World Series is illegitimate.
Yep. Angels were the last one of the two to win during a 162 game season. So,
you heard it here first on the Camcast.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. I completely agree with you. Like all those young guys, they showed that they're deserving of some time. And I really do think that's like the most positive thing that came out of this season is I think it was like every single week at a certain point, we were getting like a new person making their MLB debut. Like Reed Detmers made his MLB debut. I was there for Chris Rodriguez's MLB debut in April when he was in the bullpen, and they sent him back down to AAA. So that way he would get time as a starter, and they brought him back up, and he was pretty solid as a starter. Patrick Sandoval was really good this season. Jose Suarez had some really good moments this season. Like our young guys were really good. It's funny. As soon as the Angels traded away fucking Andrew Heaney, we started pitching way better.
I mean, that guy just got exposed, didn't he? I mean,
he was so bad
because he was on the Angels so long. It's like nobody knew that he was that bad, because he just kind of fit in with the Angels' bad pitching. Yeah, but as soon as he got traded to the Yankees, he just got exposed, and I think it's hilarious.
It kind of makes me wonder, like, if we would have gotten rid of him earlier, because we were kind of holding on to him, like, would we have maybe seen, something better early on? It's possible that when you have somebody in there that's basically, he was like the elder statesman of our pitching staff because he'd been there for 4 or 5 years and he's only 30 years old. But when you see somebody maybe not putting in the time, that kind of rubs off on the rest of the pitching staff. I wonder if that's what the case was with him. And I don't know what the Yankees were thinking trading for him. We got like 2 pretty decent prospects. And I think Jansen Junk and Elvis and Puero, whatever his name is.
Yep.
But I don't know what they were thinking. I have no idea.
I don't know either, because to be honest, Jansen Junk I think is already a better pitcher than Andrew Heaney. So
I know.
We'll see how that plays out, though.
We'll see how it plays out. There's a lot of like good young, and then like of course, I think another positive for the season was the draft back in May or June, whatever it was. 20 rounds, 20 pitchers, 20, and most of them, more than 75% of them are 4-year starters, meaning that they're almost 4-year college starters, meaning that they're almost ready to come on in and start. Because those if you're drafting pitchers in high school, there's no way you're going to know if they're going to be able to pan out. But if you're drafting them in college and they played like 4 years, typically you can kind of see that they're going to do something. And if they drafted 20 of them, if half of them work, we're fine. We don't need all of them to work.
We just need a few to hit, right? I mean, just draft a bunch of them, good players, and obviously most of them aren't going to pan out. That's just how it works.
Oh yeah, it's baseball.
At least if a few of them pan out, that's great. I mean, that's what the Angels need. So I think that's the impact of Perry Manasian, like right off the bat. I think he's being serious about what the Angels need, and that's pitching for sure.
He's definitely not fucking around like at all. Like how many GMs have we had the last like 3 years? We had Jerry DiPoto and we had the other guy and the other slime ball, and they all sucked, right?
They all sucked. I think what was going on was, you could put your thoughts into this too. I think that they were just listening to Artie Moreno and not trying to combat him as what the Angels really need. Because let's just face it, Artie Moreno is one of the worst owners in sports. He's just not good. He's just a horrible owner. You have Mike Trout, you've had all this talent, and you can't surround him with pitching. It's the same song and dance every single year as Angels fans. Like, oh,
We signed Anthony Rendon. That's cool. Can he pitch? It's like the same thing over and over again. Like when we signed, there was somebody else we signed a couple years ago. It's like, oh, nice, but can he pitch? Like, it's just But now we have a GM who's like, okay, I realize that I have maybe the two best players in baseball on the same team. I need to get pitching. It's crazy.
That's all they need. I mean, offensively, I think they're good. They're decent. So, like, honestly, all they really need is just solid pitching. Just a few arms here and there, and I think they'll be set.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. All right, so let's get into some of the negatives of the season. I don't think there's a ton of negatives. I think there's some glaring negatives. I'll give one of my negatives. I think negative is just the injuries. You wasted a season of Mike Trout. You wasted a season of Anthony Rendon during a season in which Shohei Ohtani had maybe one of the greatest, if not the greatest season of all time.
Yep.
I feel like it was a wasted year, and a year where our record wasn't horrible considering we were missing, two of our three best players, and we didn't really have a pitching staff. We were 77 and 85, just 2 games behind the Padres, who are supposed to be the best team in the National League. I just think that part is interesting. But in terms of like negatives for me, it's the injuries. Do you agree? Or do you have another one?
Yeah, definitely the injuries, for sure. Like the Rendon thing, when he wasn't injured, definitely disappointing at the plate. But another thing too is the fielding, which was a little odd.
It was bad.
I thought Jose Iglesias would improve the fielding, and for whatever reason he didn't. He actually had 17 errors on the season, so I think that's why they ultimately released him. But and I don't know why the fielding was just weirdly bad this year. Maybe it was just kind of random, but hopefully that gets better next season.
I think it will, man. I think I told you, like, when they released Iglesias, I was cool with it. There was a play. Yeah. I didn't watch many games this season, obviously. Like, I tried to. Whenever Shohei pitched, I would watch. But there was a game where Jose Iglesias had a ground ball hit to him right at short, and he didn't take any effort to throw it home and sailed it right over the catcher. I was like, what the hell? And I think he got released 3 weeks later. I was like, okay, I understand.
I don't know why he had a bad season fielding, but he's
a good hitter.
He's a great good.
Yeah, he's a great contact hitter, but man, defensively, we went from Simba to this guy, this clown. Where Simba's one of the greatest defensive shortstops ever.
It makes you appreciate Simba a little bit more, doesn't it?
Oh, I know, dude. Simba was a great, well, that and you realize just how amazing Fletcher is, playing basically 3 positions flawlessly. Yep. That's another positive of the season, is just Fletcher just continues to be just a force in hitting. Yep. Just hits.
I know. And that's exactly what they need. Just balanced lineup. I think their lineup's good, to be honest, especially if they can sign some of the arbitration players. But but yeah, definitely Fletcher. I love him. He's been great ever since he came up. So
yeah. All right. So now we need to take a couple minutes to completely drool over Shohei Ohtani, because we've seen a season that we've never seen before. This guy was like, his stat lines are they're baffling. So we'll just go as a pitcher first. I'll just read it right off of Baseball Reference here. He was 9-2. What the fuck? Go away. Why is everything messing up on my thing? Oh my God. Hold on. Okay. He was 9-2 with a 3.18 ERA and 23 starts. He had 156 strikeouts and only 44 walks, and he only allowed 98 hits. It's crazy. That's insane. He had a sub-3
ERA up until the very end too, which is really good. So
I don't know how this guy, that's great numbers for someone who's just a pitcher, right? If somebody was just a pitcher and they had 9 to 12 wins with a 3.2 ERA, it's wow, that's a great season. He also hits the ball at an astounding clip. So his averages and everything, he had he had 26 doubles, he had 8 triples which led Major League Baseball. He had 46 home runs, 100 ribbies, 26 stolen bases, which is just how?
Yeah.
This guy just does it all. He throws with gas, he hits with power, hits for average, and then runs as fast as he fucking can. I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't either. I mean, to me, he's the Steph Curry equivalent, but for baseball, and that he's transcending the game.
Yeah.
Steph Curry literally changed the game, and I think Shohei might have the same impact.
So you're saying after Shohei, we're going to be seeing more players that are doing two-way shit?
I think so. I mean,
I think so too.
He set the table. So
it's just, I know this might be the thing, like moving forward, where like he kind of, I never thought about that. It's actually a great point. What the hell? Have you been putting some thought into that or what? That's a great point. What happens if like all of a sudden, like years down the line, like we have like 10 to 20 guys who are two-way players, like these incredible, like sick athletes that can do all these different things.
I just don't think any of them would be as good as Shohei though. Cause like, obviously either your pitching or your batting is going to stand out, like one or the other. But for him, he's just different. He's just built different. So
he is built different. That dude, his home runs, the way they sound off the bat, it's like thunder. It's like thunder.
So beautiful. Yep.
I just get bricked up about that stuff, man. It's crazy.
Me too.
Nah, he's just I do you think he's going to win the MVP?
He should. Yeah, I think so. I think he deserves it. Obviously, Vladdy Guerrero is up there with what he did. I mean, he's insane as well. He's also respect to him, obviously. But I just think Shohei, both sides of the ball, just no one else did that. So
I know. That's the thing. If you have Shohei Ohtani's just his offensive numbers, he'd be top 3 for MVP. Like just given those. But he also pitched. I think that's what's insane. Yep. Like I talk about him like all the time. I just can't talk about him enough. I just don't think people realize how taxing doing both things is on your body. It's crazy. I know. The amount of stress and like, just work you have to do to make sure that your body's ready day in and day out is just insane.
Yeah. And the fact that he bats the days he pitches is also insane.
And he leads off on those days.
That's crazy.
I know.
It's Shohei. So
yeah, no. So overall, like, how do you think the season went for us? Do you think it was a disappointment? Do you think it was kind of neutral? Like we didn't really have any expectations and we're kind of just getting ready for the next seasons to come.
Yeah. I mean, it was low expectations to be honest. Obviously when Mike Trout got injured, Rendon got injured. It's like, what can you expect? They just don't have much there anymore. And then some guys had to fill in and step up. So I think it was a net positive to be honest. Like, playing almost 500 baseball is actually pretty good considering with those guys, they played 500 baseball last few seasons. So I think it was a net positive.
I completely agree because if you look down the roster, just a bunch of randoms like Justin Upton, he's pretty much worthless now. I hope they get rid of him in the offseason. We'll talk about that soon. Jack Mayfield, really good bench guy. I really enjoyed Captain Jack. The Goose. I love the Goose. Phil Gosselin. He's great. Can't stand Kurt Suzuki. I think he's ass. I think he's complete trash. He's like 38 years old playing catcher. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Your knees got to be hurting there, old man. And then Max Stassi, great, obviously. Walsh, great. Rengifo, I can't stand. I want him off the team. I think he's a horrible player. I don't know what it is about his game. I just think he swings for the fences and doesn't have the power for it.
He's just so inconsistent. It's like it's honestly really frustrating. But yeah, he does not play situational baseball very well. Like he always swings for the fences. Even if the bases are loaded and you just need a hit to get a guy in, it's like he just does not understand situational baseball, and it's really frustrating as a fan.
So. No, and what's crazy is you look at his AAA numbers and he bats like 330 with like 20 home runs. It makes no sense. It's just one of those guys that's not going to transfer over to the major league stat lines. It's weird how that happens. Yeah. Jared Walsh did though, which is because Jared Walsh was ripping it up down there for a while. So no, I agree with you. I don't think that it was a loss. I think it was let me rephrase. I don't think it was a disappointing season. I just think it was a lost season. I think in this season, if we would have had Trout and Rendon, I think we would have challenged for a playoff spot. I think we would have been up there. And if we had one pitcher, just one, just one. But so our bullpen was actually pretty decent this year. We've had worse bullpens. We have a top 5 closer in Major League Baseball now, I think.
Yes. Hopefully we will continue to have them. So that's definitely a topic we'll be talking about, I think.
Well, actually, we can go into that right now. We can go into what do you think the Angels' biggest area for growth is in the offseason? Like, what do you think they should be doing to construct the team?
So I think one of the priorities is extend Raisel Iglesias. He's obviously going to command a big contract. Like at first, the first few weeks of the season, I was like not on board with him at all. I actually I think we were both in the same camp there. Yeah, I think I sent you a couple texts about it. I was like so pissed off that we got this guy. I was like, what is this guy doing?
He was trash. He had like 6 earned runs, or he had a 6 ERA in like the first month, bro.
Yep. And then he just turned it around, and he honestly, arguably the best closer right now in the game.
I think
what he did.
I think it's him and Kenley, because I got to give Kenley his credit. Kenley was stupid in the postseason this year. I don't think I've ever seen him pitch better.
Yep. He added a few pitches to his arsenal, and I think that really worked for him. So
yeah, it's those two, and probably a couple other guys. Probably like Mark Melanson was really good this year. That one guy for the Braves that throws like underneath his kneecaps, that guy's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Can't think of his name, but no,
I know you're talking about though.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I actually have the free agent list for some of the guys that are going to be free agents this offseason. Let's kind of go through it. We'll go through some of the main ones. Raziel Iglesias, free agent. We got to sign him back. We need to get that closer in there. I know they're going to get that done. That's a deal that has to get done. Raziel has said that he wants to stay. He enjoys I think the players are excited. They see that something is being built. They're not sure what it is yet, but they can tell like Perry's done a great job of have you been paying attention the last couple of weeks to all the coaching changes that have been going on?
Yeah. So if you have a take on that change, but yeah, I mean, he's serious. He's all about business. He like actually wants to improve the team. So I'm all for it.
Oh, Perry?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is not messing around. Like so the thing about him that I did some research on it, he comes from the Braves, right? So he was the right-hand man to the GM of the Braves. And the GM of the Braves was at one point the right-hand man to the GM of the Dodgers, who's Andrew Friedman. So we have somebody in that guise who's willing to do some Moneyball shit and get things figured out and put the right pieces in place. There's not many of those GMs in baseball. There's just not. So it's kind of interesting to finally have one that's willing to do the work necessary and to tell the owner to shut the fuck up, so that way we can get some arms in our rotation, in our bullpen. It's just really exciting because I feel like for the first time in year, I mean, you and I, we get excited every single season because we're fans, we're fanatics, we expect the best and get the worst basically every single season for the past 6 or 7 seasons.
Yep.
But all of our 20s have been just trash in terms of baseball sense.
Yep.
But I feel like we're going to make some changes. I think finally Mike Trout's vocalizing that he wants to win. And I think that carries a lot of momentum. Honestly, them getting rid of Albert Pujols was a step in the right direction. I didn't think they would ever get rid of him.
Neither, but he's finally off the books too. So
finally.
They actually have money to sign somebody, which is amazing. So
3 to 4, they should have done it 3 to 4 years ago, in all honesty. But I'll take it. It's. How did you feel about that, by the way? Like the whole them releasing him. Were you pro? Were you against? Like, do you think they should have like been more respectful to him? Like, what do you think?
I mean, like they had respect for him for so long. They kept him on board for so long. It's like, if that's not respect, I don't know what is. At a certain point, you just have to, turn over and bring in better guys because he just wasn't performing. So it's like, it is what it is. They had him a little too long, in my opinion. So
I completely agree with you 100%.
Respect.
I feel like the respect was given when he got that contract. After that, if you don't perform, you don't deserve much of anything. That's how I look at it. But regardless if you're an all-time great or not, who gives a shit?
Yep, I agree.
So let's go down some of these free agents. Dexter Fowler, free agent. See ya. Alex Cobb, I want him back. I don't know how you feel about Alex Cobb. I like Alex Cobb.
I like him too. Definitely want him back. Yep.
Definitely want him back. I think he's one of those guys that really wants to be here. Like I've read interviews where he genuinely likes the culture that's in the Angels now. He loves the young guys. He loves the staff. He loves obviously Shohei. So being a part of that, I think, and having like a veteran statesman for all of our young pitchers, I think would be huge. Next guy, Bundy. Do we roll the dice on a third season of Bundy?
I don't know, man. Like, what's with that guy? He had such
because he was an ace.
And then, I know. Like, I thought he was our ace, and then I don't know what happened this past season, but man, he turned into a terrible pitcher. I don't know.
Wheels fell off.
The Angels curse, I guess. I'm not sure.
The Angels curse. Kurt Suzuki, he's 38, catcher. See ya.
Yeah.
Later, dude.
Don't sign him.
Yeah, later. Juan Lagares.
It's probably, just let him go, to be honest.
I'll let him walk. Yeah, we got enough guys that could be a fourth outfielder. I'm not too huge on him. Who else? Steve Seashek?
Mediocre. More so bad than mediocre, in my opinion, but
yeah.
I mean, if they sign him, that's fine, but I think they should just let him walk.
No, I completely agree. And that's pretty much all the main names that are going to be free agents. So pretty much you're getting the same exact team. You know, a lot of our young guys are still under arbitration, still under team control, which is good because we're going to have to pay Shohei soon. That contract is looming. You know, you can't let him walk. You got to sign him. You know, give the man the money he deserves.
Yep.
I would wait till next season though, because there's no way he has a second season as good as this one. There's just no way. But then again,
though, it's Shohei, so
imagine with Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon's protection, like right behind him, they'll have to push to him.
I know his numbers are even better, which is just crazy. But
it's insane. No, I lost my train of thought right there. It happens from time to time. Okay, so in the offseason, who do you think that the Angels should be looking at in terms of like free agents, possible trades? Like, what do you think we should be doing? Like, what's the first thing that you think of?
So I think definitely get an ace because they actually have the money now to do that. I think they have like 50 mil to work with to meet last year's salary.
Yep.
So the name that just comes to mind immediately is Max Scherzer.
100%. Yeah.
They need that ace. They just haven't had that in forever. Obviously Shohei, you could argue that he's an ace. But they just haven't had that like ace pitcher in so long.
No. What was our last one?
I mean, maybe Garrett Richards and like
when he was Irvin Santana.
When he was, maybe.
You know what? I think it's Jared Weaver in like 2013, 2004. That's tough. That's a long time ago.
That's tough. Yeah.
Damn.
Dylan Bundy was supposed to be.
He
based
fell
on
off
how
a
he was
cliff.
playing, and then I don't know what happened there.
He fell off a goddamn cliff.
Yeah, he sure did.
Jesus, Paul Bundy, Tim Bundy.
Max Scherzer, for sure. And then I think obviously extend Rizal.
Yeah, for sure.
Get a couple more arms.
Yep.
Yeah, get a couple more arms. You have some money to work with there. And then they got to figure out their shortstop situation. I'm not sure what's going on there.
They're not sure either.
I don't think Renihifu is the shortstop that you want.
No.
I just don't think he's it. So
I think he's getting traded this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously big names on the market for shortstops. I don't know that they want to spend the money for a shortstop, though. I mean, how do you feel about that? What do you think they should do for shortstop?
I'm conflicted because there are some really good names shortstop-wise. I don't want Carlos Correa anywhere near this team.
I don't either.
I don't want him anywhere near this team. I think
our team.
I don't want him. I think he's a piece of shit. I don't want Javi Baez. There's only two shortstops that I would really want in this class, and it's Trevor Story and it's Corey Seager because they're both really good players. And Corey Seager is a great player, but I don't think the Dodgers let him walk. And I think if Seager goes anywhere, it'll be the Yankees. So I don't think either one of those options are on the table. So I actually have a different idea. Okay, so we have a guy in AAA. His name is Michael Plesenik or something like that. Let me look it up real quick, actually. Okay. Michael Plesenik. That doesn't sound right. It's Michael Stefanik. I was close. Michael Stefanik.
Close enough. Yeah.
Okay. He was on AAA last year, and he's 25 years old, and he plays second base. Okay. These are his numbers last season. He hit 17 home runs, 63 RBIs. He only struck out 77 times, 26 doubles, had an average of 336. Okay. In 3 years in minor league baseball, he's hit 314. That's a name that we have to really remember. I have a feeling he's going to be playing second base for us next year, which of course means David Fletcher to short. How do you feel about Fletcher at short?
I mean, he can do it all, to be honest. I'm not against that. I think that is definitely a route they can take. Obviously Fletcher though is like supreme at the second base position.
Oh yeah.
Just fielding wise. He's probably definitely elite at the shortstop position as well. But yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely an option they can go with because they got to figure out their shortstop situation. I don't know what's going on there.
I have a feeling it's going to be the option simply because we have two shortstop prospects in AA right now, Jeremiah Jackson and I think the other guy's name is Errol Vera. And Jeremiah Jackson is going to be good. Or Kyron Paris. That's the other one, Kyron Paris. They're both going to be good, but they're 2-3 years away. So I think what you do is you have Fletcher play short. You keep a backup shortstop on the roster just in case, like, as like a fifth outfielder or fifth infielder type thing. But I really do think this Stefanik guy is going to get some time. His splits are great. He had an OPS of 901, slugging of 493 for a second baseman with a really high average. Like, all we need now, we don't need guys to have a bunch of power on our roster. We have the power. We need guys that are going to get on base so that way our sluggers can hit them home. Guys like Fletcher, guys like Stephanik's really good at that. And then we need a catcher that can get on base too, which I have a theory about catcher, if you want to hear my theory.
What's your theory?
Okay. So this is a good one. So obviously Suzuki's gone, right? Max Stassi is going to be there still. I think he's going to anchor our catching. So we didn't see a lot of Matt Theis last year. Okay. The reason why we didn't, they moved Matt Theis back into a catcher's role in AAA. He was a catcher in college, his first season, and then he became a first baseman because they realized that he's a really good hitter. But when I looked at the stats, when they moved him to catcher during the AAA season this past season, his stats were actually better as a catcher than they were as a first baseman. So I have a feeling they're going to platoon Stassi and Theis at catcher next season. And I don't think we need Theis's bat. He's got a good bat.
Yeah.
He's a good hitter.
For sure.
There's just no room for him. That's the problem. Same with Ward. Ward's not bad either. There's just no room.
I think maybe a trade is possible with those guys because I think they're proven somewhat.
I think so. So they've been in the minors since 2015. Well, at least Ward has. I think Theis was drafted in 2016. Like, they're both 27 and 28. They're on their way out of being team controlled. I think that those guys will get traded. I think Rengifo will get traded. I think Justin Upton's going to get traded. I'm not sure what it's going to take. It might take one of those prospects to send out so that way they take the money. I have a feeling that's in the cards, like a Rengifo and Upton trade together to go somewhere else and bring back like cash considerations or whatever else it might be. But Upton's days are gone. He's done. I think he knows it. We have a 3-man outfield of Marsh, Adele, and Trout. Like, that's some serious speed.
Yep.
But what do you think that they would put Theis at a catcher? Do you think that's an option? Because our catching situation's kind of been revolving since Maldonado left.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely interesting. I didn't even really think about that too much, but I think platooning him. Obviously, Max Stassi was always in the cards, re-signing him. He's going to be cheap too during this arbitration period. So definitely re-sign him. He proved that he's an elite bat, which the first season when he was with the Angels, I did not think he was at all, but he turned that around. I don't know what he did, but he's completely different now, and they definitely need to re-sign him. He's also an elite defender too, as well.
Oh, he's a great catcher. Yeah. That was one thing that drove me nuts about fucking Kurt Suzuki this year. He can't frame a pitch to save his life.
I know.
Like he's so lazy with his glove action. Like, he's just like, the ball's here and he just like doesn't frame it.
A lot of strikes that just didn't get called strikes
because he didn't hold it.
Yep.
Framing is like half the battle. And I know the pitching staff got annoyed at that guy. They had to have, literally that and the fact that umpires just suck in general. Like, it shouldn't matter where you're framing, but it does. Because umpires are idiots.
It absolutely does. Yep.
So we kind of hit some of the signings that we want to do, some of the trades. Other than that, I think the core is strong. We just need to bring in, I believe, 2 strong veteran arms into our starting rotation to complement a lot of the young guys. And then you could use those young guys in the bullpen until they're ready. I think Scherzer's in the cards, though. They'll probably give him like 3 years, 90 million, something like that. Give him 30 million a year. We need that veteran presence in the rotation. We just don't have it. Like, somebody that type of mentality, it rubs off on the rest of the team, especially a team full of young guys.
It does for sure.
And for a team that's been plagued with, Angels has been plagued with more shit than any other team, huh? I feel like every other year someone dies.
Man. I don't know. Yeah, it's a curse. I don't know what it is, but they've just been plagued with injuries and just weird stuff that's happened. I don't know. It's crazy.
I'm starting to wonder if they put Angel Stadium on an Indian burial ground or a Native American burial ground. Like, and it's like haunting the shit out of the fucking people.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be surprised. Something's going on there. I don't know what it is, but something's going on. So
something's fishy. Something's fishy.
Yeah, something's definitely fishy.
All right. So we kind of talked about the offseason. So now let's talk about next season, 2022. What are our expectations for next season? What is for you? Like, what do the Angels need to do to be like, okay, we're good? Like, it was a successful season.
To me, it's playoffs or bust, to be honest. I don't know that they'll win the division just because the Astros, are still there.
I know.
The A's are still solid.
The A's might not be as good. They just lost their manager.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He went to the Padres, and they're saying that because Chapman's about to come up in arbitration, he's done. I think he's not out of team control, so they won't pay him. Matt Olson will be gone soon. They won't pay him.
Okay, then
so we might have a chance.
Yeah, the Astros will still be there though.
Yeah, those fucks.
But playoffs are bust. Honestly, like there's no reason that team, barring injuries, assuming they sign some good arms. There's no reason they can't win like 95 games. There's just absolutely no reason. And if they don't, then something else is amiss here because like their team's just way too good to not be a 95 win team.
I know we didn't even have like all of our guys this season. Like honestly, we could have been way worse, and we won 77 games. Going 77 and 85. It's not great. It's just barely below 500, but like it could have been worse. We didn't have the best player in baseball. We didn't really have a strong rotation. We started probably 12 to 15 guys at starting pitcher throughout the course of the year, and we still won 77 games. We scored a ton of runs. We were one of the highest scoring run team. One of the best batting average teams in baseball. And then the pitching was good the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're that far off. But I agree with you. Like for me, it's got to be playoffs or bust. Like when you have the big names like Shohei and Mike Trout being like, you know what, I want to be in the playoffs. I want to win. We get us to where we can win. It kind of puts pressure on the organization as a whole. Like, okay, we got to get what these guys need. Otherwise they might walk or, Trout might request a trade or, Ohtani will just leave. And they want to appease the fan base, make sure the fan base is happy. We're all frustrated. We want pitching. We've been wanting pitching. So it's kind of just one of those things,
Yeah. And it's like a ticking time bomb because Trout, he's 30 now. So it's like, how many more years of being Mike Trout is there really left? And it's frustrating because his prime is like, he's probably towards the end of his prime.
I know.
Because, of his age, but obviously he's still in his prime.
Yeah.
It's just really frustrating because it's like there's so many wasted years in his prime, and they got to do something.
If you had to guess, how many more years do you think he has of being Mike Trout before like he's just like a really good player, but he's not Mike Trout? You know what I mean?
I think with him, he could be one of those players that at age 35 can still put up those numbers. But
I agree.
I mean, we'll see. He's definitely towards like the latter end of what the prime usually is for baseball. So I just hope he has at least 5 more years in him.
I give it 5 or 6, like really, really solid elite Mike Trout years. And then after that, he'll still be like an amazing player, but he won't be the greatest player like we've ever seen type deal. But we've been spoiled, man. Yeah. He won't be, he'll never be Albert Pujols. He'll never let himself.
Albert Pujols just dropped off a cliff.
He dropped off. Well, you know why, right? I mean, if you've heard the podcast, I swear to God, the man's 55 years old.
I have heard that, yes. Your theory of his age, yep.
I swear to God, Kyle, because he came in and it was 2001, and he was supposed to be like 20. That dude looked like he was 40.
Yeah, there's no way that guy was 20. That dude had like 40-year-old man scruff. I don't understand.
It's like he was the fucking guy from Benchwarmers. I am 12. Gave the umpire like a $50 bill. He's like, yeah, he's got documentation. It's like that whole thing. Stupid. Absolutely ridiculous.
You might be right. I don't know.
I think I am. I'm gonna call him. I got him on speed dial. He probably hates the podcast. So I got to make sure I call him. Okay, this is kind of a fun one for me. What are your expectations for Rendon next year? Because he hasn't given us anything in 2 years so far. Literally nothing. And he was a top 10 player.
Yeah, former MVP. I think he has to get back to like 2019 Rendon. There's no reason he can't. He's still, only 30, like he might be 31, but around the same age as Mike Trout.
Yeah.
So he's still, in his prime, and that's why they paid him. They paid him to produce, and unfortunately, he's been Albert Pujols-esque the last couple of years. Obviously, he got injured, so that just
and it was his hip too. I give him that. Hip injuries in baseball, it's all torque in your midsection. Like that's got to kill.
Yep. So I'll give him that. Hopefully, when he's healthy, he'll be back to being Rendon. That's what the Angels need. So
I just need him to hit about 270 to 290. Give me about 25 home runs. 80 to 95 RBIs, and I'll be good with that.
Yep.
That's it.
I agree.
And that's all I need. And then when you have Trout and you have Walsh and you have Ohtani, and then a full season of Adele and Marsh, like, dude, we'll be fine. Like we'll figure out the rest, like that's a solid fucking lineup. That's a lot of speed. It's a lot of energy. Like and we just need him to get on base. That's it. But I think he'll be better.
Yeah, I mean, he should be, especially with the guys around him. He'll get better pitches to hit. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually has better numbers than his MVP season. I don't see why he can't. So,
no, I don't see why he can't either. He should be able to. Okay, so young pitching. So, who do you think out of all the young guys that we saw this year is going to be the main best young guy, like that can slot in as like our number 3 or number 2 starter next year? Like, who did you like the most? Who do you have the most like? Wow, I think that he can do that shit. Like, I think he's got it in him type deal.
Yeah. So I don't know if Reed Detmers is ready to be that guy yet, but I think give him maybe a season or so, and I think he is that guy. He had a couple bad games, but he was also playing against really good teams. I think.
Oh my God! Talk about that. Those 3 first starts were Astros, A's, and like Red Sox. Yeah.
So I mean,
crazy.
Like, he was just thrown into the wolves. So it's like being that young, it's tough to just be in that situation. So I can understand why he didn't pitch that well, but I think overall he showed that he has really good stuff, and I think he definitely can be that player, in a year or so. I'm not sure about Griffin Canning yet. I'm still trying to work my way mentally through what's going on with him, because he was supposed to be, that ace type player, and I just haven't seen it yet. Hopefully he has a breakthrough season, but we'll see.
I feel like Canning is going to be a bullpen guy. I think he lost all of his stuff. He lost confidence somewhere because he won the Gold Glove in 2020, which is weird. That's just weird. Very weird. He had no command. I'm not sure who was worse this year, him or Andrew Heaney. I really don't fucking know. You know what I mean? They were pretty. If those guys were so trash, the Astros were banging on them to signal pitches. They were that bad.
But Andrew Heaney had memes after him, so I don't think he get that bad. That's his just bottom of the barrel.
His first game, he gave up 4 home runs.
I know.
Then they DFA'd him before the playoffs start, and we got 2 free pitchers basically. It's great.
Yep.
That's great. No, so I completely agree on your Reed Detmers thing. I think that he reminds me a lot of Greinke. Not because not in how he pitches, but it's his presence on the mound and the fact that it doesn't look like anything bothers him. And I think as a pitcher, I think that's one of the most important things you can have, to be cool, calm, and collected. Because even I watched both those games, his first 2 starts, and even though he gave up a bunch of runs, he was doing some really good shit up on the mound. He got out of a couple really good jams that a lot of pitchers normally would, after having already gave up 3 runs that inning. And your adrenaline's super high, and it's your first start. And I thought he got out of those jams pretty well, given the fact that he put himself in there and he was trying to figure it out on the fly, basically being an MLB player. He was only a year and a half removed from being at Louisville. So it's a big shock, and to, pitch for a team that you don't know is going to win games anyways, given that the Angels were so, not great last year. I thought his presence was exciting to watch, because that, once he gets the skill behind him and having that already presence on the mound, dude, he's going to be pretty unbeatable. I really do see that, a Rich Hill type guy. When Rich Hill was throwing some crazy curves,
Yep, I agree. He definitely has the stuff for it. So
he's got the stuff.
We'll see how it pans out the next couple of years. But yeah, definitely a good player, I think, in the making.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now let's get into what we think the lineup's going to look like next year. Go ahead, just give out your craziest lineup scenarios that you think are going to happen.
1 through 9 batting order?
1 through 9. Yeah, 1 through 9.
Okay. I'm not sure if they're going to lead off Fletcher or Ohtani. One of those 2 guys. They might throw Trout too, although I don't understand. I don't quite understand the analytics behind that. I don't know if I'm just an idiot or what, but I don't understand why they always throw the best player at number 2. I think
they get more at bats.
Number 3. Yeah, I guess they do get the extra at bat sometimes, but
the only reason they would do that though is it only works though if your 9 hitter is really fast and a decent hitter.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't work. Because it's having 3 number 3 hitters. It's like having 2 number 3 hitters. I think that's the only purpose of doing it.
Yep.
So, but I don't know. But I agree with you. I think your best hitter should normally be 3.
Yeah, but I think they'll have Trout too. I think probably Rendon 3, Walsh 4.
Jesus.
And then I think 5 through 9 is kind of a toss-up.
Yeah,
I think they can kind of mix and match just based on matchups.
That's fucking potent. That's potent. Yeah. That's scary.
I mean, 1 through 4. Oh, and then Fletcher. So Fletcher's 1, you might have Ohtani after Walsh or before Walsh, and that's just scary, honestly.
Dude, that's a lot of offense.
That's a lot of offense.
That's a lot of, and then Adele and Marsh in there, and then whoever the catcher might be, it doesn't even matter at this point. Then whoever's playing second base.
Yep,
dude,
Stassi a good hitter too. He's proven that. So
and then if you have Mayfield and the Goose on the bench, 2 solid bench options. The Goose. I just love the nickname.
The Goose.
The Goose. And
they need to sign him. They need to sign him too. I think
you got to sign the Goose.
Yeah, he's under arbitration, but I think obviously he's going to be cheap, and just re-sign him. He proved that he's a good player. So
he's a good player, solid hitter, great against lefties. Hit like 300 against lefties. Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Damn. All right, so we're kind of getting towards the end. Do you have any like final thoughts for the Angels, like for next season or just in general, like things you really, really want to see, things you're excited about, like anything like that?
So I'm excited to finally see all their offense come together. I feel like we never really saw like the whole Rendon and Trout thing. I feel like it was always just a miss. Like they never really like played at the same time. And then obviously Shohei as well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that
because we haven't seen any of that.
Yeah. With Walsh as well. So I'm excited to finally see, hopefully they all just stay healthy. Excited to finally see all of them in the lineup together. And then I'm excited to see what they do as far as pitching in the offseason. They have some money to spend. So hopefully they sign an ace, Scherzer, like please sign Scherzer.
Dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Please extend Rizal. And I think they'll be good to go, to be honest.
I agree. It's going to be fun to watch. Like where I genuinely think we're going to win over 90 games next season. Like I think
they better.
Yeah. I think we have to. You only have to win 13 more games. That's it.
Yeah.
Trout's good he's usually at 10 WAR, so that's 10 games right there.
Yep.
Usually Rendon's good for 4 to 5 WAR. That's 4 or 5 games. Total of like 15, 14 games. We should be winning 93 games minimum next year.
Yep.
That's my hot take.
Yep. I think somewhere in that range. I wouldn't be shocked if they win 100. If everything just kind of falls into place and they do sign an ace like Scherzer, I would not be surprised if they become a 101 team. There's no reason why they can't, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Man,
it's only 5 games. It's only 5 games away from the 95 wins. So,
you're like any Dodger during an at-bat, you're swinging for the fences.
Yep. You have to. I mean, the Angels, it's been so frustrating. I think next year is finally their year. I think so too. They'll finally break through.
And then I think that it's going to be sustained for a couple of years to come. I think we'll be good for about 4 or 5 years during Trout's, the rest of his, as we predict his run here, So I am very excited for the season. I just can't wait for it to come. Are we going to spring training this year? We got to go for 1 weekend at least, right?
We have to. I mean,
we got to go for 1 weekend.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We can even fly out there if you want. And
dude,
be fun.
Oh yeah, like we did for your bachelor party. That was great.
Oh yeah,
that's fantastic. Oh well, I flew.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you flew too, didn't you?
Did I fly?
Oh, you drove. You flew. You took flight.
I don't remember. Oh yeah, I flew. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you flew.
I did fly.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. This was fun. How do you feel? Feel good?
I feel good. That was a lot of fun to talk about the Angels for sure.
All right. Yep. So the plan is for Kyle and I to do a lot more Angels talk during the course of next season. We'll probably do another podcast right before the beginning of the season to kind of talk about the offseason moves, talk about the outlook, talk about the roster. That'll be fun. That'll probably be a shorter pod, so probably like 20, 30 minutes. This was just kind of like an all-encompassing, like come to Jesus moment with our Angels. But Kyle, any last words?
I mean, go Angels. I think.
Was that a question?
Playoff or bust,
bust,
like if they don't make playoffs next season, then unfortunately it might unravel. So I just have very high expectations for them, but of course I'm cautiously optimistic because it's the Angels.
Yeah. So, I think a new sheriff's in town though. I think Perry's the new sheriff, and he's out to clean house and get all the outlaws out of there. I think he's really doing some good shit. So it's going to be exciting. But Kyle, thanks for joining me, my man. Look forward to doing more pods about the Angels and whatever the hell else you want to talk about. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
All right, man. Bye.